You keep telling yourself, tomorrow will be different. Tonight, lying in bed, you make the promise again. Tomorrow, you will finally start. Tomorrow, you will take that first step. Tomorrow, the procrastination ends. But when morning actually arrives, that promise dissolves. You check your phone. You scroll for what feels like minutes, but turns into an hour. You tell yourself you will begin after breakfast, then after lunch, then after you feel more energized. And suddenly, the day is gone, and you are back in bed feeling that familiar weight of disappointment pressing down on your chest. You are tired of this cycle, exhausted by your own patterns. And the worst part is, you are capable of so much more. You can feel the potential inside you. But something keeps pulling you back into the same loop, and you cannot seem to break free. Here is what most people will not tell you. You are not lazy. That word gets thrown around like it explains everything, but it explains nothing. What you are experiencing is not a character flaw. It is a psychological pattern that your brain has learned over time. And if something is learned, it can be unlearned. But first, you need to understand what is actually happening inside your mind. You need to see the invisible forces that have been controlling your behavior, because once you see them, you can start to change them. Your brain is designed to avoid pain and seek pleasure. That is basic survival programming. When you think about working on your goals, your brain scans for threats. It sees uncertainty. It sees effort. It sees the possibility of failure or rejection, or discovering that maybe you are not as talented as you hope, and your brain does not like any of those possibilities. So it offers you an alternative. Something easy, something comfortable, something that gives you relief right now. You pick up your phone, you watch videos, you scroll through feeds, and for a moment, the anxiety fades. Your brain releases a tiny hit of dopamine. You feel a little better, and your mind learns something dangerous. It learns that avoiding your goals makes you feel good. So the next time you think about taking action, your brain remembers that lesson. It nudges you toward the escape route again. And every time you take it, the pattern gets stronger. This is not about willpower. This is about conditioning. You have trained your brain to associate your goals with discomfort and distraction with relief. And now your brain is just doing what it has been taught to do. It is trying to protect you. But here is the cruel irony. While your brain is protecting you from short-term discomfort, it is stealing your long-term happiness. Every day you avoid your goals, you are building a habit of avoidance. Every night you lie awake, feeling guilty. You are reinforcing a belief that you are not good enough. And the longer this pattern continues, the heavier that belief becomes. Let me paint a picture of what your days probably look like. You wake up with good intentions. Maybe you even feel a spark of motivation. Today is the day. Today, you will finally do the thing you have been putting off. You make coffee, you sit down, you open your laptop, and then you notice something. A notification, a message, a tab you left open yesterday. You tell yourself you will just check it quickly, just 1 minute. But 1 minute turns into 10. 10 turns into 30. And before you realize it, half your morning is gone. You feel frustrated with yourself. You promise you will start after you eat something. But after you eat, you feel tired. You tell yourself you will walk better in the afternoon. Afternoon comes, and the motivation you felt this morning is completely gone. You feel heavy, scattered, overwhelmed, so you push it to tomorrow, again, and the cycle repeats. At night, the guilt arrives. You lie there replaying the day. You wasted another one. You had time. You had opportunity. But you did nothing. You make promises to yourself. Tomorrow will be different. I will wake up early. I will focus. I will finally start. And for a moment, making those promises feels good. It feels like progress. But when tomorrow actually comes, the motivation is gone, and you are back to square one. This pattern has been going on for weeks, maybe months, maybe even years. And you are starting to wonder if this is just who you are, if maybe you are not built for success, if maybe you are destined to stay stuck while everyone else moves forward. But here is the truth. You are stuck in a loop, but loops can be broken. You are caught in a pattern, but patterns can be changed. The reason you have not changed yet is not because you are broken. It is because you have been trying to fix the wrong problem. You think the problem is motivation. You think if you could just feel motivated enough, everything would change. But motivation is a feeling. Feelings are unreliable. They come and go like the weather. You cannot build a life on motivation. You need something stronger. You need systems. You need structure. You need to understand that discipline is not something you are born with. It is something you build, one small decision at a time. Let me tell you what else is probably happening. Perfectionism. You have this clear vision of what success looks like. You can see it so vividly in your mind, the finished product, the perfect version. And because that vision is so clear, anything less feels like failure. So you wait. You wait until you have the perfect plan. You wait until you feel completely ready. You wait until conditions are ideal, but perfect never comes. Ready never arrives. Ideal never happens. And while you wait for these things, life keeps moving. Opportunities pass, time slips away, and you stay frozen in place. Perfectionism is not about having high standards. Perfectionism is fear wearing a disguise. It is your brain giving you permission to never start. Because if you never start, you never have to face the possibility of failing. If you never try, you can keep telling yourself that you could succeed if you wanted to. But that story is getting harder to believe, is it not? Here is the uncomfortable truth. You are afraid. Afraid that if you actually try and it does not work out, you will have to confront something painful. Maybe your ideas are not as brilliant as they seemed. Maybe you are not as special as you thought. Maybe you do not have what it takes. That fear is paralyzing. It keeps you locked in fantasy. Because in fantasy, you are still capable of anything. In reality, you have to face your limitations. And that is terrifying. But let me tell you something. Failure is not the opposite of success. Inaction is the opposite of success. When you fail, you learn, you gather data, you adjust, you grow. When you do nothing, you learn nothing. You stay exactly where you are. Every single person you admire has failed more times than you have even tried. The difference is they kept moving. They took messy action. They started before they felt ready. They built momentum through consistency, not through waiting for inspiration. So how do you actually break this cycle? How do you stop being someone who dreams and start being someone who does? It begins with accepting a hard truth. You are not going to feel like doing it. You are probably never going to wake up bursting with energy and enthusiasm to tackle hard things. That is not how human brains work. You are going to have to do it anyway. You are going to have to take action, even when you do not feel like it. Especially when you do not feel like it. Because every time you act despite the resistance, you are rewiring your brain. You are teaching it that discomfort is not dangerous. You are building the neural pathways of discipline. Start small. And I mean truly small. Do not try to overhaul your entire life overnight. That is your perfectionism talking again. Pick one thing. One tiny thing that moves you toward your goal. Maybe it is walking for 15 minutes. Maybe it is writing one paragraph. Maybe it is making one phone call. The size does not matter. What matters is that you do it. And then you do it again tomorrow. And the day after that, you are not trying to be perfect. You are trying to be consistent. Because consistency builds habits. And habits build lives. Here is a secret nobody tells you. Discipline feels terrible at first. Your brain will fight you. It will throw every excuse at you. You are too tired. You deserve a break. You can start tomorrow. And you are going to have to ignore all of it. You are going to have to sit down and do the work even when every part of you wants to run away. But here is what happens after you push through a few times. It gets easier. Not easy, but easier. Your brain starts to realize that the discomfort is not actually killing you. It starts to adapt. And eventually, the resistance gets quieter. You also need to change your environment. Your environment is controlling you more than you realize. If your phone is next to you, you will check it. If your workspace is cluttered, you will feel scattered. If distractions surround you, you will get distracted. This is not a willpower issue. This is a design issue. People who succeed do not have superhuman willpower. They have better systems. They remove temptations. They create spaces that make focus easier. They set up their lives so the default action is the productive action. Turn off your notifications. Put your phone in another room. Clean your desk. Set a specific time every day for focused work and protect that time. Tell people not to disturb you. Close unnecessary tabs. Remove everything that is not essential. Make it harder to be distracted than it is to focus. Every time you remove a distraction, you are removing a decision. And every decision you don't have to make is energy you can put toward your actual goals. Let me talk about something you might not want to hear. You need to stop consuming so much content. You are probably watching videos about productivity, reading articles about success, listening to podcasts about motivation, and all of that feels like progress. But it is not. It is another form of avoidance. It is your brain tricking you into thinking that learning is the same as doing. You do not need more information. You already know what you need to do. You need to stop learning and start executing. Here is another hard truth. You need to accept that your first attempts will be bad. Your first draft will be rough. Your first version will be clumsy. And that is completely normal. Every expert was once a beginner. Every masterpiece started as a mess. You are not going to create something amazing on your first try. And that is okay. You are not trying to be great right now. You are trying to start. You are trying to build the habit of showing up. Quality comes later. Consistency comes first. Let me tell you what is going to happen when you start taking action. You are going to feel resistance. You are going to want to quit. You are going to have days where you slip back into old patterns. And that is okay. Progress is not a straight line. You are going to mess up. You are going to skip days. But the people who succeed do not let one bad day turn into a bad week. They do not let one mistake become an excuse to give up. They acknowledge the setback. They forgive themselves. And they get back on track. That is the entire secret. Just keep coming back. You also need to stop punishing yourself. Guilt does not motivate you. Shame does not make you better. Every time you lie in bed, hating yourself for wasting another day, you are making the problem worse. You are reinforcing the identity of someone who fails. Instead, practice self-compassion. Talk to yourself the way you would talk to a friend. You messed up today. Okay, tomorrow is a new day. You did not do everything you planned. That is fine. Do one thing right now. Forgiveness is not about letting yourself off the hook. Forgiveness is about giving yourself permission to try again without dragging the weight of past failures behind you. Here is what you need to remember. You are not lazy. Lazy is not who you are. Lazy is what you have been doing. And there is a difference. Who you are is someone with dreams, someone with potential, someone with the ability to change. What you have been doing is avoiding discomfort because your brain has not learned yet that discomfort leads to growth. But now you understand the psychology behind your patterns. And understanding is the first step toward change. You have spent so much time imagining the life you want. Now it is time to build it. Not someday, not when you feel ready. Now, you are capable of so much more than you have shown yourself. But nobody is going to do this for you. Nobody is going to rescue you from yourself. You are the only one who can break this cycle. And you are not broken. You are not hopeless. You are just stuck in a pattern. And patterns can be changed. It will not be easy. It will not be comfortable. But it will be worth it. Because on the other side of this struggle is the version of you that you have always wanted to be. The version that does not just dream. The version that does. So, here is what happens next. You make a choice. Right now, not tomorrow. You decide that you are done living like this. You decide that your dreams matter. You decide that you are worth the effort. Drop one word in the comments that represents who you are becoming. Hit like so. This reminder stays in your feed. Send this to someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more of these resets, more of these truth bombs that cut through the noise, stay with this channel. Because you are not here by accident. You are here because part of you is ready. Let that part win.